Okay, so we are starting experiments. And I guess I feel like this is really important. All of this stuff is this is a big vocab section. I just feel like the stuff we're learning in this chapter, while it doesn't really feel like math too much, it's almost more like science. Any of you guys who are going to college and are having a lab class, like a chemistry or a biology, if you're going into medicine, you'll have biology. If you're going into business and marketing type of things, you'll need this kind of stuff. If you're going into engineering, they do all kinds, I don't know. I just think this is really valuable stuff for you to know before you go to college, because it will help you with your lab reports and any other things you have to write up. So we are starting experiments. Today we're going to do the following things. Distinguish between an observational study and an experiment. Let me move that little guy over. So we're going to do that. We're going to explain the concept of confounding and the limits the ability to make cause and effect conclusions. And we're going to identify experimental units, explanatory and response variables, and treatments in an experiment. And the first statement I'm going to make right off the bat is this. If it's a very complicated experiment, it's actually much easier to identify all these things. If it's a really easy experiment, then a lot of these terms overlap and are actually identical. All right? So we kind of have to start off not too difficult, and that almost makes it more confusing. So if you're feeling confused, you guys at home have to beep in and open your mic up and ask a question. And if you're sitting here in the classroom, don't hesitate to ask. And I also want to say to you guys at home, thank you for all having your cameras on, because otherwise, I have no clue if you're really with me or not. My sister at Mentor is dealing with that like crazy right now. She has a couple girls that at Mentor, they're not allowed to tell them to put their cameras on, and they're not allowed to kick them off if they don't respond and mark them absent. I'm like, so how are you supposed to know they're even there? She goes, well, I know they're not there because she does stupid little things like in metalsmithing. She'll say, okay, before you can get the directions for what I want you to do next, I want everybody to send me a picture of a shape. Like draw a square on a piece of paper, or draw a circle on a piece of paper, or a triangle, or take a picture of a picture frame in your house. Like, she just does silly little things to let her know that they're with her. And these people don't do anything, and now they're failing, and now their parents think they're not going to graduate because of metalsmithing. She's like it's my fault that they took metalsmithing and choose to Zoom on and then leave for an hour? Okay, anyway. So here we go. We are going to be on page 43. Experiments have all of those things that we're going to cover, and we're doing Roman numeral 1 and Roman numeral 2 today. So if you could please turn to page 44. Here's the difference between an observational study, which is kind of what we were just doing in 4.1, surveys and samples and questionnaires. Those are kind of observational studies, where you just ask questions, or you look at what they're doing, but you don't try to have a treatment. So experiments have a treatment. Experiment and treatment, those two words go hand in hand. I know it's not an experiment because there's no treatment. Something like that. All right. So, for instance, this is huge. This is not in your worksheets, but this I have personal experience with. It used to be when women got old, their doctors made them take all kinds of hormones to make menopause a little easier to deal with. So you didn't have night sweats, and you didn't have all other kind of things that are even yuckier to talk about. We're not going to talk about those. Well, they thought for years, when women hit a certain age, you got to load them up with these hormones so they can make it through menopause without being terribly cranky and yada, yada, yada. But then they found out that hormone replacement really isn't good for women. And they figured that there was this lurking variable of the women who seemed to do good on hormones were the women who went to their doctors and took good care of themselves anyway, and it wasn't the hormone replacement that was helping them get through menopause, it was just the women's self-care. So, that was observational study that made them link hormones to successful menopause experience. So it says, the experiments didn't let the women decide what to do. After reviewing the evidence, they concluded that the first studies were wrong. Taking hormones after menopause quickly fell out of favor. And so this happened in the last 10 years for women. So when I started menopause, I got no drugs, no hormones, no nothing. My doctor said, yeah, that was something we used to do. You'll be fine, don't worry about it. Like, okay, good to know. And it was okay. I mean, waking up in the middle of the night, feeling like you have sweated so much that you could take your jammies off and wring them out, like it just felt like I could squeegee my skin off. I was so sweaty. That was not pleasant, but other than that, it was okay. So just something to look forward to. And by the way, menopause just doesn't happen to women now. They've discovered that men go through menopause, or whatever you want to call it. Just at a later date, ladies. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so this is on page 45 at the top. We have confounding variables when two variables are associated in such a way that their effects on a response variable cannot be distinguished from another. So that's what happened in that hormone study. The two variables were taking hormones and women taking good care of themselves. And those two variables confounded each other, so you didn't know if the women made it through menopause successfully because of their self-care or because of their hormones. Those two explanatory variables were confounded. So confounding variable is a variable that also has an effect on the response variable, and you can't tell which variable is the one really causing the effect. All right. That's why we need something called control that we'll discuss in a minute. So here's confounding, and it explains what I just told you about with the hormones in the women. All right, so let's take a look at the top of page 44. We are going to try to determine if, in fact, this is an experiment or an observational study. Does reducing screen brightness increase battery life in laptop computers? To find out, hang on. And when you write this down, leave some space because we do this again and we might come back to it. Yeah, leave a little space. Don't write huge on number 44 and yeah, number 44. To find out, researchers obtained 30 new laptops of the same brand. They chose 15 computers at the R word. That's good because what does random reduce? The B word. Random and bias go hand in hand. So there's all these little terms that go together. They adjusted their screen to the brightest setting. The other 15 laptops were left at the default setting, moderate brightness. Researchers then measured how long each machine's battery lasted. Was this an observational study or an experiment? Justify your answer. All right. Observational study or experiment? Anybody have an idea? Anybody want me to just call somebody? I'll just call somebody since half of us are missing and we miss you all. Alex, you have been selected. All right, Alex, is it an experimental, is it an experiment or an observational study?
I would say observational.
Okay, so here's my question. Did Did somebody do anything to the computers?
Oh, they changed the 15 to the maximum and just left 15.
Yes. So they didn't just open up all the computers and sit there and watch them. Some of the computers got a treatment, and that was changing it to the maximum brightness. So this is an experiment. And there's really a couple reasons. Number one is the treatment, which was changing screen brightness, occurred. Is there 2 R's in occurred or 2 C's or what? What is it? Who knows? OCCUR? Okay. So that's the reason I know it's an experiment. The second reason I know it's an experiment is because there was random assignment to the treatment groups. And we'll talk about that more. I'm trying to introduce this stuff slowly. One group got no treatment at all. That's called the control group, and we'll learn more about that tomorrow. But does this make sense to you? 2 different groups. They did a lot of nice things right in this experiment, and we'll talk about that more later. All right, you guys at home, any questions? I can't see you all on the screen. I'll have to work on that. I don't know how to do that exactly. I can see you if I stop presenting, but I don't want to do that. So, anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, so I would say you could increase the amount of screens you see
How?
clicking like the dot and everything, and then like going to your settings and changing how many you see.
So where do I get that? Oh, the triple dots at the bottom. Change layout.
Yeah.
Tile.
And you
Oh,
should
look
be
at
able
that.
to increase the amount of screens.
Yeah, now I can't see Jenna, Liz, Zach, or Maria. You guys have your computer, your cameras turned off, chicks. There you go. I will miss your bright sunshiny faces if I don't see them. Thank you. You guys all good? Everybody give me a thumbs up. Dang that, Alex, why did she have to go there? Good job, Alex. Thank you. I should have known that. I knew it before, but my brain is a little scattered right now. Okay, let's look at this next one. Dinner time. Does eating dinner with your families improve student academic performance? According to NBC and TV shows like 2020 and all that kind of crap like to do this all the time. Teenagers who eat with their family at least 5 times a week are more likely to get better grades in school. This finding was based on a sample survey conducted by researchers at Columbia University. Experiment or observational study, don't answer. By process of elimination, this is probably a what, Molly?
Observational.
Yeah, because we just had experiment. So this is an observational. Did Columbia University make students and families do anything? No, they just sent a survey and said, do you eat with your family? Yes. How many times a week? 6. What are your grades? 4.8975. Wow. Family eating must cause good grades. This goes back to chapter 3. There is a correlation, but is it a causation? Does eating with your family cause your grades to be better? So the explanatory variable is eating with family. And I'm going to put multiple times, like not just once a week, but more than once a week. And what are they saying is a response variable? Grades, good, higher. What's your GPA? The response variable was your GPA. Why can a study not establish cause and effect? So right now, tying this all back to chapter 3, there is a strong, like R is probably 0.7 or higher would be my guess if you had to map this out. Because you could do number of times you eat, that's quantitative, comma your GPA, right? So strong positive correlation does not equal causation. And I cannot find that video that I'll still keep looking for it. Anybody that had Mr. Mason, the video looks like a guy that it reminds me of Mr. Mason. Okay, so why can't we say correlation does not equal causation? Because there are too many what? Too many cookies, Corduroy. Did anybody have those books growing up, Corduroy the Bear? And he went to the doctor and the doctor said, you've eaten too many cookies, you need to lose weight. I'm glad that Trent and Bella know what I'm talking about. Too many confounding variables. Some books call this lurking, by the way, just so you know, lurking equals confounding, just so you have a vocab. All right, this is where you need to use that creative mind like you did on your quiz yesterday. Name me a confounding variable and why it is such. Families that eat together means probably what else? What else could it mean? I'm taking volunteers. Thank you, Molly.
The kids may not be as busy.
Okay, so students are not as busy, therefore what? They have more time to study. Yep, do homework. I just put study time instead of homework because it's shorter. What else? Families that eat a lot together. There's like a buttload of these kids. Yes, Bella.
They may study together, do their homework.
Okay. Siblings may study together. Thus, like the older brothers and sisters can help the younger brothers and sisters and they get better grades. Older sibs help younger. All right, what else? You're not allowed to answer again. Thank you, though. I'm going to start calling on people. The virtual group, anybody with an idea of what might be going on here too? Alex, thank you.
Maybe that their parents can go over them and help them like get better one-on-one with them with the teacher.
Parents are home. To help. And what else? They're home to help and also to badger you. Get your homework done. I don't want you watching the TV. Get off your phone. No video games. They're in the house so they can monitor your activities. Are home to help and monitor activities. There's still other things. I'm picking a stick.
Oh, I was gonna say one.
Go ahead, please.
Maybe like if your parents are home, you can like get more sleep because you go to bed earlier.
Okay. So parents who want you to eat together are also monitoring, like are also watching your other activities, which could be what? What you eat, so you're getting a well-balanced diet because you're eating at home and you're not eating fast food. They're watching your sleep. They probably also, this opens a whole big door that Maria just opened. What else are they doing most likely if they're home to make sure you're eating together? They're probably doing something else often. Going on to Infinite Campus and checking your grades out. All right, stuff like that. Parents are home to regulate and track other activities. All right? I mean, I don't know. Probably you guys are a little different. I don't know if any of you guys have helicopter parents or have parents that are like constantly going on Infinite Campus. I know my daughter in school once, one of her teachers said to her, "Holy cow, your parents are on Infinite Campus constantly checking on your grades." And she said, "No, that's not my parents, that's me." But at the beginning, like right now, I can go online and I can see how many times you guys have looked at Infinite Campus, and I can see how many times your parents have looked at Infinite Campus since the beginning of the school year. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but I have that capability. All right, so do you get the idea that you have to be creative a little bit here? Yes, Mrs. Garrett. Okay, awesome. We can move on. What else did we have before? Oh, there's good communication because of dinner and grade discussion. They're good providers. They're proactive with the kids' education. We kind of touched on those. Okay, so we have treatments. Experimental units are the smallest collection of individuals to which treatments are applied. When units are humans, they're called subjects. So units and subjects, that's what's in those groups that we were doing with cluster and sampling, by the way. All right, so let's take a look at the bottom of page 45. So we have all this new vocabulary. Units, subjects, are people. Experimental units are called subjects when they're people. We have treatments, which are the explanatory variables. What did you do to experiment? How many different conditions were there? Factors are the different types of treatments. And levels are the different values of the different types of treatments. And this is where it gets quite confusing if you don't have an experiment that is fancy enough. Does that make sense? All right, so if it's an easy experiment, this is going to be hard to do because your treatment and your explanatory variable and your factors and your levels are all going to be the same if it's an easy experiment. So let's try to get through this one, and then you'll be in good enough shape to do the homework, which is page 50, 51, and 52, by the way. It's worksheets. All right, a new pharmaceutical company wants to test a new pain relief drug against the current pill of choice. Hospitals always use Tylenol. Does anybody know why? It used to be when I was growing up. It changed when I got to be your age, so like 35 years ago. No, it was longer than that, Mrs. Garrett. Okay, 45 years ago, they used to use aspirin if you had a headache in the hospital, but then they changed to Tylenol. Does anybody know why? It causes less SE, side effects. All right. They find 500 people who usually take Tylenol for headaches and muscle aches and encourage them to enter the pain relief study. The people who elect to participate in the study fill out a survey that measures their current perceived pain level. When I have a headache, it's on a scale of 8, and Tylenol brings it down to a 3, something like that. Then the company randomly assigns people to 3 different treatment groups: Tylenol, the new drug at 50, and the new drug at 100. After 3 months of taking the unmarked pills, people reevaluate their pain levels. Identify the following terms in the above experiment. What are the experimental units? They are actually called subjects. There are 500 people who regularly use Tylenol for pain relief. So that's being very detailed. What's the treatment? What are they doing to these people as generically as you can possibly state it? The treatment is a unmarked pain relief pill. So the treatment is an unmarked pain, you could say a pain med in a pill form. There's all kinds of stuff with the placebo effect. Like if some people got a pill and some people got a shot, the people getting the shot would have more relief, even if it's nothing. Because shots make us think, oh, this is like real serious. And our brains react to that. I mean, it's amazing what the placebo effect does. Okay, so what is the explanatory variable? Specifically, it's the type of pill that you receive, right? Because there's 3 different pills you could receive. So the explanatory variable is type of pill received as your treatment. Received as your treatment. Factors. There are 2 factors. Number 1 is Tylenol, and number 2 is the new med. So do you see how this would be really confusing if all they did was give you like a sugar pill versus a Tylenol pill? Like then the explanatory variable, I guess you'd still kind of have the same, and these are kind of saying the same thing in a different way. But then you wouldn't have any levels if you only had sugar pill and Tylenol. They'd have 1 level. So for levels, the Tylenol has 1 level. And that's what, 500 milligrams, does it say? Nope. It just has 1 level, and we don't know what the milligrams are. The new med has 2 levels, and they are 50 milligrams and 100 milligrams. And what specifically is the response variable? Pain relief, but how is that recorded? You can't just say pain relief. What's the pain relief?
Based on the pain levels.
Based on who's, yes, based on patient answer in the post questionnaire. Does that make sense? Let's see what I put if I did it this way. It said, the response variable will be the perceived pain relief as recorded in a post-survey that the subjects experienced when taking the unmarked pills. The researchers will most likely subtract the before pain score from the after pain score, hoping that it is lower and positive, right? I was at a 10 and now I'm at a 3. That's a pain relief of 7. Not going the other way. All right, we didn't get to do the practice stuff, but that's okay. I can bring it back here. This is your homework, and there's the A skips have nothing to do with it, I think. Maybe not. No, they do. The A skip, because these are problems out of the book, but we've changed them to match what we want you to do. So there are 3 A skips, 47, 49, and 54. But it comes from 3 pages in your packet. So these are the packet pages, and these are the problem numbers. All right, thank you for bearing with me. Julia's staying with me, right? The rest of you guys have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. And I hope everybody stays healthy. Are you guys all feeling okay? Maria, are you feeling better? No? Well, thanks for joining us. How about you, Liz? Are you feeling okay? Okay. Well, get some hot tea or something. And if you have any questions, send me a remind text or something. Ella, Max is not going to forget today.
Nope.
All right, and Julia, we'll get Molly to bring that stuff to you, but you stay on, okay? See the rest of you. Have a good afternoon. Will that fit in your locker, okay?
Yeah.
And I think I put her envelope, sorry. Yeah, this is her art class, it's right here. Thank you very much. I do like the sweatshirt.
I'm gonna want.
Uh-huh. You too. Oh, okay. Yes, is somebody have a question?
Mrs. Garrett.
Yes, who's that? Is that Julia?
Mrs. Garrett.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm Julia.
Yes.
Yeah. Tomorrow I thought maybe I'd come back, but I think I might have to get tested now. So I'm not sure if I'll be back tomorrow.
You won't be.
So I'll probably have Molly bring me the stuff, or I don't know, like my mom could.
Yeah, but you don't need it for a while, so Julia will bring it to you like next week. I'll give it to her. I will give the stuff to Molly tomorrow. In case we go
Yeah, my mom could
virtual.
probably do it too.
Yeah, or your mom can pick it up from Molly, or Molly can just leave it on your mailbox and text you, hey, it's out here in the mailbox, okay?
Okay, yeah.
We'll do that. All right, Julia, I'm gonna email you the PDF that you need to print out and take the test. And then all you need to do is show me the workspace where your hands are, yeah, when you're taking the test. So let me email that to you right now.
That's because you were in the way. I was standing there. How do you not?
I didn't realize I had it.
Oh, I did. I knew you'd bring it back. All right, kiddos. This is your, ouch, geez Louise, everything's shocking me. That's your homework. In case you want to know. Oh, I have to stop